But until you dethrone the king right now, he doesn't have a chance. I'm sorry.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, full cavalcade of stars as we do our AFC North NFL Division preview, starting with Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, what's going on, sir? How are you?
We're getting close. I can smell it. We're getting close. Let's get it, man. I'm having a good time.
All right. Academic and athletic consultant for the CKA Save Project, George Aka. George, what's happening, man?
No, man. Blessed to be here with superstars. Blessed to be here with superstars.
And yes, joining us, talking about NFL himself, Following Campbell. Jack, you get one of them today. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm great, man. I'm a basketball guy, but I love talking about football, man. So let's get to it.
All right, and on today's 2024 NFL preview, we're going to do the AFC North. Segment 1, we're going to talk major storylines. Segment 2, over and under predictions, strictly for entertainment purposes only. And in segment 3, our panel will give their predicted order of finish. But first, major storylines, and we're going to start in Baltimore. The Ravens, the big question for the panel, will Lamar Jackson finally get over the playoff hunt? George, I'm starting with you, sir. What do you think?
Well, what are we talking about? Playoff hunt? Is he gonna get?
Is he gonna win that Super Bowl?
Okay,
we're tired of the playoffs. We gotta get over the hump and get to championship play.
Like I told this panel last year, when the king is sitting on top, when you better come for the king, you better not miss. And as long as the king is there, you remember that, Will Cotton. As long as the king is sitting there, I don't know. That's a tough draw. So I can't bet against the king till somebody beats the king. And as long as Pat Mahomes is still sitting there, I can't bet in against him. Now, Lamar's got a good chance. If Joe Burrow's back healthy, which is the big question mark.
We will get to Cincinnati a little bit.
Yes, sir. But I'm telling you this.
Lamar Jackson,
so I'm telling you what Lamar Jackson,
those playoffs.
He's got a good chance. He's got a good team. Going back to it, hopefully they got a different offensive coordinator, which they do, and knows how to call a play. So he's got a good chance. He's 50-50. He's 50-50. But if the king is there. As long as the king's there, it's a problem.
All right, Following. Can Lamar Jackson finally get over that playoff hump and get to the promised land?
I mean, I'm with George, man. I being a Niners fan, I've seen what Pat Mahomes can do, and I'm sorry, I just can't bet against that man. Until, like George said, until you dethrone him, I can't bet against him. Now, I will say he has a chance. That Baltimore team is solid. But until you dethrone the king right now, he doesn't have a chance. I'm sorry.
Will Cotton, bring some levity to this. Let me help you out. The Ravens got receivers now. They got Zay Flowers. They got the fourth round pick, Devontae Walker. They were a little pedestrian against the run, and they brought in King Henry to get those short yards. All right, Will, did I do it? Tell me Lamar Jackson is going to get over the hump now. I gave you data, Will. There's the data. Go tell him, brother. Tell him on the mountain.
Well, I gotta agree with Shaq and George, man. I'm like, and I'm not gonna harp on what they already said. One of the things that Baltimore has had to struggle with is their health. I mean, they last 2-3 years, they can't keep healthy, and those guys get hurt at crucial parts of the season. But if everybody is healthy the whole season and they can make it to make that run at the right time, at peak at the right time, I mean, shoot, they could take a shot at the king. I don't know if they're gonna beat him, but they can be in a position to really take a shot at the king. And I think that's what they need, but they have to stay healthy.
I will say this. I am looking at Baltimore to be there to play the king in that semifinal game. They have a team to get there, to get to that AFC championship again. Now, if they get to the king, now that's a whole nother story. But I can see them making the AFC Championship.
I'll leave this here before we get, because I know it's another segment, but I don't even see them winning their division. But wait,
Throw it out there early.
I knew it. I knew it.
I had to light the fire. I had to light the fire.
I knew it.
All right. So, Will, I'm going to go to you. Cincinnati, the big question is this finally Cincinnati's year to take care of the AFC North? What do you think, Will?
I don't know, man. Again, I think it's up to like Burrow's health. I think one of the big thing they did was they franchise tag T Higgins, so at least that's not like an issue anymore, or something that they're worrying about, or maybe they'll trade him. I don't know, but at least it's under the rug for now. It's down the line. It depends on their splits. They're gonna have to beat a good Cleveland team, and Cleveland has a very good defense, and they just revamped their offense a little bit, but I think they're still a little better than the Bengals are. Man, I think the Bengals are gonna be. Give me the over. I think they get.
We're not there with overs yet. Is it Cincinnati's year to win the AFC?
Oh, no, definitely not. I think they've regressed. They don't have the same running. They've lost running back that was crucial to their team, is Joe Mixon. And they've never made the next step. They've always going backwards every year, ever since they made the Super Bowl. So it's hard for me to say, but I don't think they're going to do it this year.
All right, George, is this Cincinnati's year?
Cincinnati, this is the thing. If we got a healthy Burrow, I don't care if Joe Mixon's back there, anything else. I'm not worried about it. Burrow gonna get it done. Now he's the only one that has that check mark on his box that says I beat the king. So if he's got a chance, there's always there. Now the big thing is with Cincinnati is going to see how upset T. Higgins is that he got franchise tag, because he wants to get paid. Now if he's going to be disgruntled, they're going to have some issues. But if he's not going to be disgruntled, they got a chance, just as much chance as Baltimore does, to win this division and get to the king. Problem with Cincinnati I see is the defense, pedestrian at best. They lost a lot of dudes that were back there, so that's the one thing that scares me about that. But if Joe Burrow's back there and he's healthy, he can make up for a whole lot of mistakes.
Following thoughts, is this Cincinnati's year finally?
It really depends. For me, it's T. Higgins. And like George says, if he comes in disgruntled and he doesn't want to go to training camp and they make this an issue, I think that's a problem. Now, again, I still think Joe can make it work with just, Chase and the rest of the guys. I know they picked up Zach Moss, and I like Zach. You know what I mean? I think Zach is no Joe, but I think he's a serviceable running back. But I love Joe. You know what I mean? If he's healthy, he's a problem. He's a problem. You know what I mean? And I just feel like in that division, it's very tough. The defense in that division on a lot of those teams are very good. The Steelers, you know what I mean? Cleveland. And I think they might have like George said, they might have, out of those 4 teams, they might have the worst defense. And I don't think it's bad, but I think it might have the worst defense. But to answer the question, I think they'll be the second best team in that division. Again, this I'm assuming T. Higgins is playing, and I'm assuming he comes and he's ready to play. That offense is going to be hard to stop.
All right, following, I'm going to stay with you. The big Pittsburgh question. Is Russell Wilson the answer at quarterback? What say you?
So when you say the answer, is he going to make that team better? I think he will. Is that team going to be competing for playoffs? I don't think so. I just think they're the worst team in their division. But I do, again, that they have a great coach in Mike, and he just finds a way to win games. He did it with a bad quarterback. I'm interested to see what he does with Russell. But I think they make them better, but that division is just so tough, man. It's just so tough.
All right, Will, what about you? Is Russell Wilson the answer at quarterback? What say you, sir?
I don't think so. I think, at the end of the day, he's regressed. He's not the Russell, from a couple of years ago in Seattle. He's obviously slowing down. He got hot for sure. I'll give him that in Denver, but obviously the slow start was not good. And connecting with his younger teammates, that seems to be a problem with him. That's like even with his Seahawks teammates, you're seeing it's coming out. He doesn't really connect with people in a very personal way, I guess, and that could affect a very close team like the Steelers. They're always like a very close knit kind of team. So I don't think he's the answer. I think he's the best answer now. I think he's better than Kenny Pickett. I think he's better than Justin Fields. To be honest with you, I thought if they were in to do it, they were going to go and get Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago and make a run and get him and say, forget Kenny Pickett. But this is the next best thing they could do. But I don't think it's enough for them to be good. Do that much in this next season.
George,
No.
okay, Fowler.
I'm sorry. So
Take me down the rabbit hole.
Will, you're telling me slowing down is throwing 3,000 yards, 26 TDs, and only 8 interceptions?
I feel you, but remember he started slow
with no weapons, with Jerry Jeudy. And I don't even know, did Sutton play most of the year? Like,
you mean sometimes Jeudy? Sometimes Jeudy.
But that's what I'm saying. What weapons did he have to throw 3,000 yards, 26 TDs, and no O-line? And you're telling me he's slowing down?
I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's paid enough. I think he's on his next check. I think, I don't think he's competing with Justin Fields. I don't think that's a thing at all. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, I think he just doesn't connect with people. He doesn't get to a place and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, Russell Wilson, I love it. Yeah, he's like, thanks, let's go over, let's have dinner, let's come over, let's hang out later. I think no, he gets there and he's like, all right, well, I'm here to do a fucking job. Like, let me all do what I got to do. I think what's going to be interesting about this division is that they play the NFC East terrible and sprinkles of like NFC South. So like, there's going to be some wins. They're both going to like get some wins. It's going to be interesting, but I just don't think that they're going to be the third best team or fourth one there.
All right, George, what do you think,
the question is, does he make them better? Meaning, does he make them better than last year? Am I wrong, Coach Adams?
Yes. So again, it's the answered quarterback. Mike Tomlin didn't have a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger retired. So I'm going to let my football guy answer that, George. Does he make them better?
Hell yeah, he makes them better. I mean, Will been on this since he got his feelings hurt with the Celtics, but I'm gonna leave that one alone right now. Slim, the key with them, right, with this year, I'm not really concerned about the offense because it's going to look better and Tomlin gets dudes to play. The key with them this year is what is Watt going to look like coming back off injury? Because if we don't get a healthy Watt back, the defense is going to be Swiss cheese, dog. So, because their corners, so that pass rush has got to be where it needs to be, and if it's not, they're going to have problems. So that's where I am with them. They are this whole division to me is one injury or catastrophic injury waiting to happen, because when it does, one of these 4 teams are going to fall completely out of the picture. So that's where I see it.
So, George, I'm going to stay with you for the Cleveland Browns final part. Will Deshaun Watson ever come back to his Pro Bowl form? What say you, sir?
I don't know if he's going to be at his Pro Bowl form ever again, but I'm going to tell you this. All he has to do is be decent, because this team is the juggernaut in that division right now, because the scariest team to me, because you can take defense on the road anywhere. And if Deshaun Watson, that offense with all those running backs, Chubb and everybody comes back fine, if they put up 17 points, they're hard to beat. They are hard to beat. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's 90 degrees. You ain't scoring much on that D. So they're a tricky one, man. They could win the division, or they could wind up being last in division. But they got the talent to do it. So they're a scary one, man.
All right, Will, what do you think? Will Deshaun Watson return to his Pro Bowl form?
I mean, look, Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl, Gardner Minshew made the Pro Bowl. Of course, he can make the Pro Bowl these days. I mean, all you have to do is be healthy and have some good decent, and you can get in there because all the good quarterbacks are like, I ain't playing because it's the playoffs. I think he comes back. I think, he's still a good quarterback. The biggest thing now is all his issues and all that is kind of behind him, and now he can just focus on football. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be right there competing with the rest of them. Again, their schedule is softer enough. They're playing the NFC East. They have the number one defense last year, which was, which a lot of people didn't even really think. Even for that division, I mean, that's says a lot. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, the Browns always Browns, and as good as they are, they always Browns something. So it's hard to trust them.
The curse is there, but one other thing: there's a limited number of massage parlors in Cleveland, so we should be pretty good on that. We should be.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Following, will Deshaun Watson return to being Houston's Deshaun Watson? What say you as we close this segment?
I think he will, man. I really think he will. Again, we don't know what the status of Nick Chubb is, but that team, they got an O-line. They got Amari Cooper. They got a tight end. I really think he's going to rejuvenate or get Jerry Jeudy going, because for some reason, I don't know. I know you're shaking your head. I still believe Jerry Jeudy can be a good slot receiver, and he's not a number 1 or 2 option. I'm honestly,
how come he couldn't do that? How come he could do that with Russell Wilson then?
Hey, that's
no. They didn't have a connection. I don't know what it was, but
that's what I'm saying, man. That guy does not get connection.
Don't get it on. Don't put that on Russ.
Not that
don't
guy.
Put that on Russ. Don't put that on Russ.
I just said they didn't have a connection. It happens. You might not have a connection with your quarterback, but I think Deshaun can have. Again, I think Jerry Jeudy's a good talent. I don't know what has been going on in Denver. You obviously sometimes you need to change the scenery. You need to change the scenery sometimes. And I think this can rejuvenate. You know what I mean? Going to Cleveland. And then also Deshaun having that defense, he's not worried about making mistakes. Like, he's going to play freely. And that's what I think is going to help this team be the best team in that division.
All right. So, fans, when we get back in segment 2, strictly for entertainment purposes only, we're going to talk about not only the projected win total, but also their roster ranking compared to the rest of the league. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 2. Strictly for entertainment purposes only. Let's talk over-under. George, I'll start with you. Baltimore Ravens, over-under 11.5, and their roster rank is 5th in the NFL. What do you think, over or under for the Ravens?
17. I can give them over 11. I can go around about 12. Yeah, I can go about 12 because they got their division, and then they play the NFC East. So they should be able to they'll be able to handle everybody in pretty much in the NFC East. So yeah, I can see them over.
All right, following Ravens, over under 11.5, roster rank 5. What say you?
Yeah, I agree with George. Looking at their schedule, they got a couple tough teams, but I think they'll win 12, 13 games.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay.
then just depending on how it goes at the end.
Oh.
The players are down, but I think they can get 11 and a half.
Will Cotton, is this unanimous as I'm taking notes?
Oh, unanimous. Nothing else to say. I got them winning.
Okay.
Schedule's favorite to them.
All right, Will, I'm going to stay with you. Cincinnati over under 10.5, and their roster rank is 8th. What do you think?
And it's tough. It's tough. I mean, they have, they can win nine of those games that I'm looking at. They can win 9 of those games. They can win them. It just depends if they can get 2 more wins from somewhere where maybe somebody got hurt, somebody misses a game. But it's hard for me to take 10 and over. I'm gonna have to say under that. I can't. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Fowler, what do you think? Over under 10.5 for Cincinnati.
I mean, I might be with Will on this one, man. I'm looking at. I mean, I think they can get it, but I need T to be there. In that division, they're gonna beat each other up. So I see it like maybe at 10, but I don't see it getting over 10.
I'm not feeling confident. George, over under 10.5 for Cincinnati.
I'm with Fowler. I'm calling 10 because Joe B will win a game or two by himself, but then I can't with that way they're constructed. Nah, I can't because they done lost the number of those pieces that they got to the Super Bowl with. So I can't see maybe 10. I can see him get 10.
All right. Fowler in Pittsburgh, over under is 8.5, and their roster rank is 16. What say you, over or under?
Yeah. Look, man. Mike, he finds a way to have a winning season, man. So I'm gonna say the over, but I know I'm probably gonna be wrong. But Mike finds a way to get about 8, 9 wins. I don't know how he does it, but he does. So I'm gonna take the over on this one, man.
All right. George, what about you? Pittsburgh, over under 8.5.
Oh, I got him. Oh, I got him at 8, maybe 9. That's why I can't go no high. And part of me's telling me don't even go that high. I mean, depending on what happens in that shop. This secondary is horrible. So I'll say under. I'm gonna say under.
Cotton man, I rode with Pittsburgh all last year, but that was last year. What do you think? Over under 8.5.
It's hard to say. I mean, the best bet for them is they're going to start fast. I think they got Atlanta, Denver, and the Chargers. Oh, and the Colts. The first 4 games, they can go 4-0. I think that's affordable, kind of. And then the rest of the season, they just have to pick up wins where they can. Raiders, obviously. I think they could beat the Jets. Obviously, they could beat the Giants, the Commanders. Then you get kind of squirrely where it's like Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. It's like, yeah, like it's man, I don't know, and I don't know if they'll be healthy enough. So I'm gonna have to say under.
Too much wishy-washy with that.
They got to get it early. Because that back
they got to get if they don't go 4-0 the first 4 games, it's going up.
And everybody gonna start talking about we need to switch quarterbacks and everything. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of mess, man. They're gonna have to get out there.
That guy OCP called it about the Russell Wilson not being.
Here we go. Here we go.
George, Cleveland. Let's wrap it up. Over under 8.5. Their roster rank is 12. What do you think about Cleveland?
I can go over. I can go over with that because like I said, you can pack that defense up and go wherever you need to, and they'll win game 17-10 and get out. So that black and blue division works well, and like I said, they're gonna go out west. They got a couple games out west, and they got to run through the NFC East. They can get it. I got over.
Will, what do you think about Cleveland? Over under 8.5.
Give me the over. I think it's going to be 9-10. I think they can get some game. It's going to be tough, man. They start with a very hot Dallas Cowboys game. I follow team. I think and they always play well on prime time when it's time to start. Then they get a couple lull where they're playing they're playing the Jag, they're playing the Giants, the Raiders, the Commanders. They play the Eagles. Yeah, I think they can win 9. I think they can win 9. And when they get to the back end, I mean, the Saints, the Broncos, you got there's some winnable games. So I'm gonna say they go ahead and go over and say what, 9, 10?
Following, what do you say, sir?
They winning that division, man. So
They can win the division.
whatever it takes to win that division.
Whatever
man.
it takes.
It's gonna take more than 9 wins to win that division. So I'm rolling with Cleveland, man.
All right, so fans, in segment 3, we're going to give you the OCP's predicted order of finish and see who we need to pay attention to for a playoff run. We'll be right back on the Our Coaches Podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3, predicted order of finish. Cotton Man, I'm starting with you. Who's winning the AFC North? First, second, third, and fourth. What we got?
I got the Ravens winning the division. Then I got the Browns second. I got Steelers third, Bengals fourth.
Ooh.
Ouch. Okay. Wow. George, what about you, sir?
Wow. Dang on, Cotton. I'm going with the Ravens to win the division. I got Cincinnati and Cleveland second and third, but it's going to be, and the thing I have with Cleveland, even though I believe in Cleveland, it's also Cleveland. There's a curse on that city. It happens all the time.
And so, you got a YouTube short that is well populated. So.
Yeah, so it is the curse is going to get them at some point in time. So I got them second, third, and the Steelers bringing up the rear.
All right, following, you teased this in segment 1. You get to close out projected order of finish.
Hey, look, man. I think that curse is going to be lifted. It got to be lifted sometime, sooner or later. And they made the right adjustments, and we got the right pieces on defense. And I think the quarterback is ready and healthy. So I got to go with Cleveland winning the division. Ravens at 2. I'm going to go definitely, again, I want to see what T. Higgins does, but I'm going to go with Cincinnati at 3 and then Steelers at 4.
All right, following, I'm going to stay with you. Who in the AFC North will make the playoffs in your opinion?
I think Ravens and Cleveland will make the playoffs.
All right, Will, who's making the playoffs?
Ravens and Browns.
George?
Yeah, Ravens and Browns. Cincinnati could. That's all depends on how that whole situation works out. But I got the Ravens and Browns stamped as definite.
All right, George, do we have a Super Bowl team coming from the AFC North?
No.
Will, do we have a Super Bowl team coming from the AFC North?
Yes.
Oh, here you go.
And who?
Here you go.
You know it, baby. Baltimore.
Here we go. He getting his feelings hurt again.
Bring a trophy to Maryland, man. That's all I want.
Watch your mouth now. Watch your mouth.
Do we have a Super Bowl team coming out of the AFC North?
I'm so glad Will said no. I mean, yes, because I was going to say yes just to be different, but reality, it's a no. A hard no, sir. I'm sorry, man.
Look, follow it. Get them chicken bones and rabbit foot you got rubbing together for Cleveland. Give him the will so he can rub them. Because there's a dog. There is a dog sitting in KC, Slim.
Baltimore, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry.
So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.